Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is May 4th, 2025. We're in zone 8A, 8B, North Carolina. And I want to do a walk around. Bear with the shakiness of the camera. I started using a GoPro a little while back, and it's so hard to upload a video from a GoPro to GoPro Pro app on your phone, and then to take it to YouTube, and then to upload it again. So anyways, I'm just still using my cell phone until I get some stuff figured out. If I'm going to get a new phone to make better videos. But just trying to do a walk around the yard, show off the place, some swells and stuff that you haven't seen in a while. Some of the greenery. Show the doggy. That's Willie Davis. I'll try to make it quick, within like a 20-minute video, just so I can do a whole walk around most of the property. You haven't seen any of these fig trees since they broke dormancy. A lot of these were air layers that I did last fall or last summer. Ones that I didn't make it to the Figapalooza for sale. I had started a bunch of fig cuttings in here, and I've whittled it down to the ones that actually made it. It's not a very good propagation method for myself inside a hot greenhouse. These are some mulberry cuttings that are rooting, some sweet potatoes, a bunch of fancy willows down there. Let's see, figs, different varieties from all over the world. Some chestnut seedlings. These are all different willow seedlings, and some comfrey plant. Much more flower seedlings that we're putting out into the garden, along with parsley and asparagus from seed. Because asparagus from seed versus planting asparagus from crowns, you'll get the same growth rate. So in a couple of years, you'll be able to harvest asparagus off of your seedlings as well. So Grossmonstrose de la Piri, rooted cutting going. But I had an epic failure on rooting cuttings this year inside here. Let's see, you can see a lot there. Epic failure on rooting cuttings in this little greenhouse. It just got so hot so fast this spring. We didn't really have a spring. We went from wintertime, the end of February, it turned straight summertime here where I'm at. April 15th is supposed to be our last frost date, and here we are 20 days past our last frost date. And these are all a bunch of big fig trees, and then I've got a couple of citrus trees in here. If you're interested in what varieties, just ask any questions in the comments. If you're going to ask some questions or you like what you're seeing, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. I mean, it looks like I've got almost 600 subscribers so far, mostly friends and family, but I'm getting a lot of views from all over the world too, so I appreciate all of it. So this is the nursery out here. We're underneath a shade, maybe 50+% shade out here, plus there's a bunch of trees above us, and then this tractor trailer blocks half the day of sun anyway. So the chestnut seedlings look fine out here. Pawpaw seedlings, I still have a bunch of those to give away if anybody wants some. Some other cuttings, bunch of propagation of mulberries, and just stuff I do for fun. All this stuff I'm about to put out in the yard, some willows, chestnuts, gardenias, some more grapevines. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I get around to the backyard, where I still have a lot of opening. A bunch more bee balm, some dahlia rooted cuttings that I've been experimenting with, cuttings of dahlias and sticking them, and just a bunch of random stuff that if you have any questions about. There's my soil sifter. If you have any questions about any of it, just ask. I love to go a little more in depth, but I've made little videos about all of this stuff, more comfy. So I'll spare you walking around that way to the back 60 and just show off some of these fruit trees we have up front. So look at all these peaches, and we've already thinned the tree and a bunch of drops, so I believe these peaches here will mature. We'll eat some peaches this year. 2 of my 4, so I planted another peach there and another peach. Oh, there's Beetle. He's my favorite cat, who likes his tail pulled. Yeah, he's a good cat. That peach tree got ran over, and that one I had buried too deep, so the graft died. The you know, desirable cutting above the graft died out, so there's some root stock growing back. These are all Asian pears coming down the front here, and then a row of different plums back behind there. But these Asian pears are putting on, just about all of them have pears that I think we'll at least get a couple of pears per tree off of it. And this is only their second summer after I planted them here bare root. Barely rooted. Yeah, that's a good kitty. This is Beetle. He's a rescue cat. Anyways, all right. So there's 40 fig trees right here in rows, and they're all coming back. They all died back in the winter. But what we did was plant canna lilies just now between every fig tree. So hopefully the cannas live along with the figs this summer. And then when the winter time comes, there'll still be some standing cannas and whatever other plants we can get to stay living here. We'll kind of shelter them from the winter freeze off. So that's my plan. Excuse me, hold on. I've sneezed like 1,000 times this morning, so I don't know what from. But these chestnut trees are looking great. They're actually blooming. Look at this. That's the bloom. The catkin male side of the bloom for a chestnut. Little mulberry trees planted all back here along with them. Let's see. An exciting update that I haven't talked about at all yet are my honeybee hives. I've got 6 colonies and they're all doing great. And I built this whole building in the back of a truck, which I call the bee shed. This is where I'd keep all of my boxes and materials, but it's all wired up for electricity, all proper. In the event somebody wants to buy this and make it a tiny home, that was the plan. But in the meantime, it's my bee shed, and like I said, it's built into the back of a truck, which I actually have the title for, and it was a running truck until it got parked a long time ago. So if one were so inclined, they could remodel the whole thing into a driving tiny home. But that's not what I'm using it for right now. So keep going. Those 40 figs planted in ground back there, and then there's another 125 planted all the way down through here, along with more chestnuts, mulberries. Some plums have lived. There's a bunch of wild persimmons and one Fuyu persimmon planted here. Look at the flowers on those. So I heard when they turn brown like that, they've been pollinated, and this is what they've looked like before pollination, is like a white creamy color. And then there's the sassafras trees, sumac trees, grapevines, and we're trying to, if we can forest up this area to a low jungly forest, then I think the fig trees that are not like cold hardy that I have planted here won't die back as much in the wintertime, because they'll have like a buffer of material around them all winter. So then I did a row of fig, chestnut, mulberry tree, fig, chestnut, mulberry tree, and it goes all the way down to the top swell over there. And then again on this lower swell, I did the same pattern. And out of all of them, I've lost 11 trees out of this. And that was planting like tiny rooted cuttings of fig and mulberry and first year seedlings of chestnut. So all in all, out of all of those trees, I didn't count how many lived, but it's pretty good odds. And some of the mulberries are already fruiting. Like we were eating white mulberries off of that big white mulberry, which is one I made cuttings from this wild tree here in Aberdeen. And then that is a Kokusa mulberry, which is supposed to be a purple black mulberry, but that one's actually a lavender. So it's mislabeled, but I'm fine with it. And then all these different mulberries and fig varieties going through here. And any chestnuts I'm mentioning are not American chestnut, they're hybrid chestnuts. Although I support the American Chestnut Foundation and all that, and the whole effort to reforest our forest with American chestnuts, these hybrid chestnuts actually put on a good crop. So that's what I'm growing here. Excuse me. So here's that top swell. I don't have it. I don't have the swivel pipe figured out just yet, deep enough. Where I put it, there's actually a leak in the swell here, where it was made with a lot of mulch went into the swell back wall when I flipped it, and so it's leaking through that area, so it doesn't fill up here up to my swivel pipe pass through what you would call a spillway in a normal pond, which is fine because it only holds water for a couple of days, up to about, I don't know, I'd say about 10 days, and then it drains out. But I believe that's long enough for dragonfly nymphs and tree frogs, excuse me, and stuff like that to get in here and reproduce. And I mean, it was dry yesterday, or the day before. Then it rained, and the tree frogs were already over here all around this last night, having a breeding party. You could just hear them all night long croaking, because that's my bedroom window right now, because until we move out of this apartment on June 1st into the main house, you know, I can hear them all night long coming through that window. So this is a good overlook of the big back garden, what would be like the vegetable garden, but it's also turning into a flower, decorative, and vegetable garden. Perennial plants growing alongside annual vegetables, and it's actually something quite beautiful once we get down in it. I'm going to carry you in there in this video. So, and then that's back to where we just came from, the bee sheds there beside the bulldozer and the greenhouses, and then I walked out of that front door. So that's as far as we've gone so far. So we've passed about 165 in-ground fig trees plus what's along these two. So plus I've got the back 60 where I counted at least 40 fig trees planted in ground that have survived out of the 60. So, I mean, that's over 200. I'm sure there's more, and I'm planting more and more. I've got a lot of those big ones inside the greenhouse are getting planted in here. So my plan is to eventually take this swell, it blends into this one. I'll make a small road and a pipe that connects this one and this one, and a small road through here, and make it just a continual long swell. Dam, a ditch, you could call it, but it just catches all the first big blasts of rainwater up here. And then along the side of this road, there'll be micro little ponds that just catch water, overflow, catch water and overflow, catch water and overflow. And then over there along that edge, the same thing, catching the water. And there's always going to be a backside of the dam here of the swell that I'm planting more fruit trees and screening bushes on it, evergreen screening bushes that will be like right here, you see them sticking up. Elaeagnus, ligustrums, hollies, privet, magnolias, name me some more evergreen screening bushes, because I'm planting them here, along with willows, fast growing trees like that for fun, and mulberries and figs and chestnuts and other fruiting bushes. And this is my old shooting range, which is going to turn into an actual pond. And I'll spin this whole back side of the shooting range this way. Since they're building a neighborhood, we're moving the shooting range to the other side of the property. And this will get turned into a big pond here, and put all the dirt on that side. So we have a whole nother back side of the swell pond dam to plant on. And then we've got a bunch of screening bushes already planted here. that are coming along nicely. Hollies, giant green arborvitaes, and then Iliadnus and arborvitaes all up through there, and then a bunch of little hollies popping up. But every 10 feet we have a blueberry bush, either wild or planted, that goes up there as well. I'll walk you up here, excuse me. My nose is just running. I don't know why. I've sneezed probably 200 times this morning. All right, let's see. There's a little blueberry bush. There's a little blueberry bush. There's a little one that's not fruiting yet or growing up yet. There's another one. Let's see, there, get it in focus. Here's one loaded with fruit. This one. Then there's one, and there's one, and there's one. And then there's that pond I was talking about connecting to the other swell, which is right through there. And then micro pond here, another micro pond right up this little road I'm walking on, so that I can keep putting these backstops here and plant, because they're building a giant neighborhood and they are on the move, getting closer and closer. You can see off in the distance past that tree line, they've already built the apartments. And then this pavement comes in here, and there's going to be a house right here. There will be like, you know, $500,000 to $1 million houses. So they'll be nice, well-kept places, but they're right on top of me. And, you know, if you look back this way, without the green leaves through here right now, you can kind of see right into my garden and my windows and stuff. So that's the point of planting these hardy evergreen screening bushes. This one's Iliadnus, which is, you know, some people think it's an invasive, but invasive on a border like this is fine for the wildlife, as a pass-through screening for the wildlife, a screen for me to block. I mean, all the birds and foxes and squirrels and deer, they're not going to have a way to get from those woods ever again to get over to the other side over there once this neighborhood's here, unless they come through this screen or like between here and my garden. So if I don't leave this little area unfenced and screened, then they don't have a way to come through here, and they're going to try to go the other way, which a few miles away is the highway, and they're just building so much neighborhood around here. I mean, you wouldn't believe it, but the white-tailed deer, if they, you know, they keep building like this, you're going to see species going extinct, is what I'm saying, or living in urban areas that are just, it's ridiculous, you know. So there's got to be a greenway through here. Unfortunately, it's got to be right through my place, and it's my pleasure and responsibility to do that. You know, we've got plenty of a gap between the back side of my fence around the garden to keep the deer out, and back here that I want it screened anyways to block strangers' view in my garden, into my garden. There's plenty of room back here for that, is what I'm saying, for both things to happen. And it'll be like just one big single function. This probably 50 yards or more of a screen. They come right through all that. They have little trails and all the way up to that tree line, and they can, look, there's another one of my cats. That's my little kitten, Donut. They can come right up through all of that and make their way up through to the other, like, wilderness type area over there. So anyways, enough about that. Here's another pond here. I've already planted privets, redbuds, and then there's a bunch of wild things, persimmons, mimosas, locusts, black locusts, a bunch of ligustrum, a bunch of maples. There's some hollies. Let's see, there's a holly that just will not die, so I'm gonna let it come on back up. Blackberries, sumacs, oak trees, grapevines. Then I've planted some pretty things in here, and my row of arborvitaes comes all the way down to here. So there's a row all the way through. So it's coming along. The green evergreen shield is coming along back up to that pile, and beyond it needs to just be thickened up between me and that pile. So This tractor implement will grow, and it'll just look as thick as this in the next few years. I'll have it just thickened up all through here. That's my plan. So we got a couple of mulberry, chestnut, planted real tight. Another Iliadnus, screening bush, Iliadnus. Another white mulberry right here on the corner. And then I kind of pointed at the back side of these, Ligustrums, Iliadnus, screening bushes. And then a couple decorative flowering screening bushes, mimosas, black locust, fig trees, more sumac. And then the dumpster, which I'm using as a shed right now, the back of the apartment, and then along the back of the fence here I planted fig trees and grapevines. And then we have this big clump here of black locust and mimosa that we've been catering to, and we made like all the water comes through and goes through like a leaky weir right back in here, and then this water comes down where I'm walking. Let's see, made a big bed here, grapevines, blueberry bushes, mulberries, gardenias, a bunch of M111 apple tree rootstock so we can graft apples on there, more Iliadnus, but the edible berry type. You might call it droomy berry, or there's another name, silverberry. A couple varieties of that we planted in there. And then some flowers all along in there. And then these 3 new beds that I need to fill up. Some more wheat straw for mulch that's been not sprayed, real good wheat straw. That pond is brimming over right there full, and we'll walk around behind that. This pond has already absorbed into the ground, but it was full this morning. And then we've got the whole backside here planted with screening bushes, decorative bushes. Let's see. And then a whole blackberry grove right there, mulberries, flowers, persimmons, and a bunch of other stuff I've shown in some other videos right over there. We might get to it. And then our rows here for our flowers and vegetables that we just put on drip irrigation, and I'll make a video maybe about how we did the drip irrigation, but we're loving it so far. I want to take you behind this pond to show you. So this pond comes in here, and it's also coming in from the back by that 2x4, back from that jungle, and then that's the overflow right here. But this back side, we've got all sorts of stuff planted: eucalyptus, sedums, cactus, more of those apple tree seedlings, a fig tree, this greenbrier growing up it, mimosas, blackberries, blueberries, flowers, coral bell honeysuckle, that was the name of it. Excuse me, run. Daffodils, catmints, just all sorts of flowers and perennial plants mixed in with our vegetable plants. So it's coming along real neat. Just these perennial type beds where I'll be doing a lot of chopping out of them, chopping, dropping. But and I need to remodel back here on the outside of the fence to take that swell, turn it into a pond. I'm gonna do stair step ponds all the way down to the big pond on that side. Meanwhile, that swell on that side of the fence over there is planted up with willows and flowers right now, and that swell catches and holds water and then dissipates real fast from all the water that's coming under all this mulch we're walking on from the vegetable beds. When it rains heavy like this, it seeps underground and then goes into that swell first. It was real neat. Then it has an overflow, and I'm thinking about doing a whole nother swell along there, but building it out of like some mulchy dirt. It's a project. And then, yeah, here we are in the back vegetable garden. Flowers everywhere. What you think about that? We got all these flowers on either side of the deck. The house is coming along. We'll be moving in June 1st. Let's see. Come out through this back gate here. You can see down that swell with the willows and flowers right through here. And I've got all the plants planted on the hillside, but also I have flowers, and I'm planting stuff along the backside, tight along the side of the fence. And then a ton of flowers planted up here in the front yard: azaleas, irises, a bunch of stuff. Any privets like this right here, I didn't notice this one until now. I'm going to grab this privet and put it on that back jungle wall. Let's see, my new set of stairs and patio. What you think about that? And that's the kitchen window and the literal front door. And that's the front door of the mother-in-law's suite. That's actually the den now once we move into the house. There's the master bedroom there. And then the carport's here. And you can see the greenhouse is where we started at. And the driveway in. So, a couple more days of work out here. This will all be cleaned up and finished up and ready for the wedding. And just have a look at this. This is going to be the view from my front porch rocking chair. Just like this. The infinity porch. Alright, and at that, we'll end the video. I hope y'all have a good day. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. I seen somebody post this morning on Facebook and asked, how much rain did we get last night? And I thought about this interesting thing. Well, it depends on how big your yard is. Because if you only have a half-acre yard, well, you got a ½ inch of rain last night, or 1.5 inches of rain, but it, you know, landed over the span of a ½ acre. But if you got 10 acres or 7 acres like we have here, plus water catchment, all these swells, then the water doesn't just run off. We actually harvested and got a lot more rain than, you know, it's just an interesting concept. Think about that. The rain these days is real important, especially everybody on, well, anyways. All right, have a great day. All right, bye.